All right, so I just want to say hello to everybody and good day from down under. So I just want to welcome you all to the first ANZ 2 Second Lean Learning Club with our special guest, Ryan Tierney from Seeing Matters and Lean Made Simple. So thank you, Ryan, for making the time to learn with us today. So I hope everybody will get some value. And to make it as much value as possible, we've just got a short time. So I'm going to run through a quick agenda, and then I'll talk about a little bit of timekeeping so we keep on track. So I'm leading the meetings. I'll be just speaking with Ryan for 5-10 minutes. We're just going to be discussing the book, okay? And we're going to go through chapter 1 where it starts with a leader. So that's the topic for today. And then I've got 5 pre-selected speakers. So there's Caleb Wallace, Harry Dijkstra, James Hill, Retief Joubert, and Ryan Power. So those 5 just going to introduce themselves, speak for 5 minutes, and just discuss the topic. So it starts with a leader, and then they can ask Ryan a question or two, and hopefully he can give us a lot of good value. And then we'll finish up with some final remarks. And then the timekeeping. So I'm going to just use my hands and say 4 minutes. So there's a 1 minute left. Otherwise, I'll just say, okay, 5 minutes are up so we can roll to the next person. So everybody gets a chance. So I guess I'll get it started. Ryan, the book, I've already read it a couple of times. I've been listening to it in the car. Tell us, why did you write this, and how do you envision us to use it?
Yep, thank you. So my story is in the book, but for anybody that hasn't got to that yet, 10 years ago, our business was an absolute mess. Like, if you can imagine the worst company you've ever seen, we were that company times 10. I mean, like, ridiculous. The place was dirty. The place was dark. It was disorganized. I was so stressed out. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. I just got married. Myself and my wife had just got married a few months before coming across Lean, and I was never at home. She never seen me. And she used to call and say, "When are you coming home?" "Oh, I can't come home. There's a lorry coming. There's a delivery coming. I've got this order to send out." It wasn't a nice period of my life, to be honest. And I went home one night absolutely frustrated. I was really pissed off, to be honest. And I got my iPad and I started to look up how do you run a factory? How do you do this? And everything changed that night. It was like bang, just like a light switch, bang. Something just happened in my brain. And I came in the next day. I came across Paul Aker's video, the Fast Cap Lean Tour video. It's 10 years ago. And just bang, like that. Everything changed. And not everybody gets that when they see Lean. Some people see it and think, "Oh, it's nice, it's good. We'll think about it. We'll do it sometime." But as soon as I seen it, it was like an immediate knock to the head. And I came in the next day so fired up about Lean, and it has never left me. To write until today, I'm so excited. I just love everything about it. It makes so much sense. So one of the things we actually failed, and not many people know this, about a year in, we absolutely failed. We fell flat. We said, "Are we even going to keep doing this Lean thing? It's a lot of work. We're spending a lot of time in it. We're struggling to get people engaged." And I realized then that the key was to build a culture, which everybody in this call knows. We know the key is to build a culture. It's not about the tools. It's about building the culture. Mm-hmm. So you asked me, why did I write the book? I wrote the book because we counted it just last week, 2,750 something people have been through our factory on Lean tours.
Wow.
And every single person, almost every single tour, at the end of the tour, we ask for questions and feedback. And almost every tour, they say, "Yeah, we love it. We love the painted floors. We love how you organize your tools. We love how engaged your people are. But where do we start?" And I wanted something that I could give somebody to say, "Here, there's the 12 steps that we took. And if you follow these 12 steps, it will work." Fact. And that's what the book was designed for people that came on a tour, to just hand them the book. But it's went much bigger than that. We launched the book 3 weeks ago. We've literally, like, we had no idea this was going to happen. Thousands and thousands, pallet loads, truckloads of books. We can't print them fast enough. They're just going everywhere. It's just been crazy. We've touched on something, some missing 2 second lean is unbelievable, and I love it. There's loads of
Yeah.
books out there, and this is not instead of, it's as well as. So I recommend people, you buy 2 second lean and you get this. The two
Mm.
are a perfect combination. I think 2 second lean is still better than my book at explaining what lean is. But then once
Yeah.
you know what lean is, this is how to build the culture. So exciting. I'm really passionate about it. And the book, I hope, is going to help a lot of people.
I definitely think it will. I mean, it resonates. It's very simple. You like the title says, and it's easy to take the takeaways from there. So, like I said before, how do you envision it? Okay, so you give it to somebody, say, here, you go and listen to this. So, how do we get this into here or into your heart?
Yep. So there's a mentor that I had about 10, 12 years ago, a guy called Paul Martinelli. He's an American, like a self-help motivational speaker, Paul Martinelli. And Paul Martinelli done this weekend seminar in Tampa in Florida about 12 years
Mm,
ago that myself and my two brothers went to. And the entire seminar was based around this thing called internalizing. And if
mm,
you've listened to any of the podcasts, you'll hear me saying this all the time. The difference in internalizing something and hearing something, the difference is massive.
yeah.
So when I go to visit a company and do a lean tour, when I go to Japan with Paul Akers, I'm going there to internalize. I'm not
Mm,
going there for fun or just to learn or kind of to have a nice trip. I'm going there with the absolute focus and trying to internalize. So the goal, my goal for people reading the book is to internalize the book, not just read it, but to internalize it. And I think the best way to internalize the book is to read it once right through first. Just read it. Just
mhm.
get the first pass over you. Then take it chapter by chapter, page by page, and spend 1 week on a chapter. And
Mm,
you might be listening to this thinking, how could I spend 1 week? The chapter is only 2 pages long. But I purposely made the chapter short. I
yeah,
purposely took 3 sentences down to one sentence. Where something was using 5 words, I used 2 words. I really wanted to make it compact and valuable. So there's no waffling, there's no stories that don't need to be there. There's
mm,
no waste. It's a lean book, it's a lean tool, and it gives you
yeah,
exactly what you need, no more. So I would say read the book first, then go back and take 1 week per chapter and think about internalizing. Just don't think about reading. Because if
yeah.
I read out if I went to the contents page and read you out all the chapters, everybody in this call would nod and say, yeah, yeah, I've heard all that before.
Yeah.
You've heard it before, but have you internalized it?
Because it's the same as like somebody hearing something versus actually listening. Hearing is just the ears, but when you listen, you're actually processing what you're hearing. So there's the nuances there. So in the first chapter, it talks about starts with a leader. You say, okay, you got to lead by example, and you give the examples of, you got to make your own, you got to make improvements, you got to celebrate the improvements as a leader, and you got to teach and train your people. What's the difference between teaching and training people?
Well, people think training and teaching is a distraction, and it's actually a shortcut. So at the start, when we started Lean, we had really, really long morning meetings. They were like 45 minutes long. And I really started to question it. Is this actually valuable, or are we just standing here wasting a lot of time?
Mm,
So again, like the book, we compacted the learning down to like 7 minutes. So we don't do long meetings anymore. We keep it really short, really
mm,
snappy. The learning is one piece flow, because we used to do these big batches of let's have a lean day, or let's do a company day where we just talk about lean, or we have these big hour or 1.5 hour long meetings. But now
yeah,
it's all one piece flow. It's all simple. It's all the daily kata is in such a way that we're learning a tiny bit every day, and that's the
Yeah.
best. Because somebody is off for a day or they miss the monthly lean day, then they're losing a lot of knowledge and a lot of value. But teaching and training is absolutely a shortcut because I'm on this call right now and I've been really honest. I'm just going to make sure everybody can really hear what I'm going to say. I could walk out of my office right now, get into my car, and go to Australia for 2 months, and this place would run seamlessly. But not only run, it would get better. I would come back in 2 months and I would find like 300 things that are better.
Mm.
And that is only possible through teaching and training. That doesn't happen by accident. It's
Mm.
only possible by setting aside time every day to teach and train your people so that you can walk away. Because let's face it, that's what we all want. We all want to go on holidays and not have to answer any calls. We all want to go on a family holiday and get no emails, like zero emails.
Mm.
Our goal and my goal for our business is to have a self-managing business that I can walk out of here at 1 minute's notice and I don't get any phone calls.
Mm.
And it's only possible through teaching and training. There's no other way.
Okay. Yeah, that's I think that's every business owner's dream, and they just can't achieve it. So you've obviously achieved it with this. So another thing out of the chapter, you mentioned the word difficult, effort, challenging. I think for everybody, every leader, it really is challenging in that. So, and I can hear from you as well, it was challenging. What can you say to those leaders in Australia here or out there in the world when it's really difficult? How do we not give up? And because we don't have everything working perfectly.
Yeah. So I was going to put this sentence in the book and I left it out because I didn't want to go too deep. But if you've ever heard of the law of cause and effect or the law of polarity, if something's really difficult, then the result is going to be equally as good. So
Right.
if you go to the gym, and I know like loads of people here maybe go to the gym. If you go to the gym and you kind of do a workout that's okay, you don't really push yourself. You lift light weights. You
Yeah.
instead of doing 10 reps, you do 8 reps. Instead of doing 10,000 steps a day, you do 8,000 steps a day. If that's the level you're at, that's the results you're going to get.
Right.
But if you go to the gym and you say, I'm going to do a personal best, I'm going to lift more than I lifted last week, I'm not going to do 10,000 steps, I'm going to do 12,000 steps. The
Okay.
results are shown in physical form, you will get results. And
Mm.
lean is the exact same. If lean isn't difficult, then you're not doing it right. You're not intense enough about it. If lean isn't hard work, then you're not trying hard. You're not going to get the results. Lean should be difficult. The
Yeah.
more difficult, the better. Because if it's difficult, if it's if you're really thinking, how am I going to motivate our people today? What's our next improvement? How can I increase engagement? You have to be coming up. You have to feel the pain if
Mm.
you want to get the huge results.
Right.
So it's the exact same as going to the gym. You
Yeah.
have to be at the end of that gym session, you almost need to be like lying on the floor because you've worked so hard.
Yeah.
Because that allows you to look in the mirror in 2 days' time and go, yeah, I look good. So the
Yeah.
more difficult, the better.
Very good advice, yes. And I think that's the thing, a lot of us can give up very quickly because we're not seeing the improvements, we're not seeing the engagement and that. So um okay, no, that's really great advice.
Just a really quick thing, and I wanted to be really honest in the book. That's why I said it is difficult and it is hard work because I think there's
Mm.
too much fluff out there and too many people saying, "Oh, it's easy and all you have to do is do improvements and teach your people and everything's magic." That's not how it works.
No,
It's hard
yeah,
work.
yeah. No, I think that you got to internalize that, right? But it's a journey
Yeah,
because we want things to happen very quickly, but just like losing weight takes time. You put all that effort in, you don't see any weight, you don't see the muscle building, but it's a consistency, repetition, repetition, and the sweat building. So that's really powerful.
Yep.
I wanted to speak to Caleb. Caleb, so tell us a little bit more about yourself and your situation as the leader in your company and pushing lean. What are the difficulties and what kind of questions do you have for Ryan?
Okay, thank you, Edwin, and thank you, Ryan. I must say that Brian's put out the challenge to not be fluffy about the things that I say, because I could tell you a story about our business and I could spend half an hour, but trying to be concise and is something which I'll try to do. Um, as a leader in my business, we're 21 years in to our business, and when I was reading your book, Ryan, um, there were so many things which I read and resonated. Family business, and I'm I've got two other brothers in the business, and my father. My father is kind of retired now, but we my brother ran the office, I ran the factory, and my younger brother was in sales. And so very similar to you
It's similar.
because
Yeah.
very similar because the factory is my passion. It was actually interesting. We had some people coming through our factory today and they saying, we're thinking about potentially moving and they said, "Oh, there's going to be a challenge." And I'm going, you know what? I love it. I love the challenge of setting up a new factory, being able to actually go where I think it's going to go. Now, getting straight to the point, like as far as lean leadership goes, we started our journey back in 2017. Um, Now, during that time, I had some personal issues, and I was not involved. My brother had to sort of step into an area where I was mainly working, and he brought lean into the factory. So I missed out on lean um, 1.0 in our business. Um, we were employing a lot of people who needed a second chance at life, people who'd come out of prisons and all that sort of stuff. Um, and we gave them lean, and it was really encouraging to see them grow and really take it on. It was fantastic. And then COVID hit. We couldn't actually meet together. We couldn't have our morning meetings, but we started lean again earlier this year and got back into it. And I've been really enjoying you know, it's all about developing people. It's what the core of our business, is about, and it's about developing that culture. And I'm actually struggling to come up with questions right now because everything that has been talked about so far are the things which has been my experience. That what you're saying, pain is the path to growth. I mean, that's the way um, that's the way life is, um, and it suits so much what um, our life journey and tapping into tapping into that and being able to grow people is what life's about. You know,
Mm.
we are in it together, and I think um, I I suppose if I'm going to put any question to you, are there any particular people that you have had in your business where you've gone, I've seen them grow as a person, and that has given me the motivation to continue?
Yes, absolutely. And his name is Sean.
Yeah.
And we had our first book club this morning on the Lean Made Simple book. And Sean was here before Lean. And I knew what Sean was going to say. So I picked Sean out and I said, Sean, can you tell your story? And Sean told
Yeah.
the story in front of everybody at our book club today. Sean has been here 11 years. So he was here about a year before Lean. When Sean was here, he had his hood up. He had no confidence. He couldn't speak to anybody. He ate his lunch in his car outside. He had very, very, very low confidence, low self esteem. really quiet, shy 18-year-old. And through nothing else other than lean and growing and developing him through morning meetings and challenging himself on coming up with improvements, he is an absolutely different person. So I asked Sean at the meeting today, Paul or Sean, what's your biggest improvement since we started lean? And he said, the biggest improvement since we started lean is me. And everybody, we all give him a round of applause because that is so true. The change in Sean is just unbelievable. And that's the buzz that I'm so glad you asked that question. That's the buzz that I get out of this. The change in the people. It's just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can actually, there's several people in my company who absolutely the same. And there's a couple of years ago, we had someone, who was really underperforming, and other people in the company, why do you put up with him? He's just, and now they come to me and say, I can't believe where he is at now. Like the difference, he's a completely different person to what he was, 3 years ago. And it's testament to the whole process that developing people, it's what builds you up. It makes it makes being in business worthwhile.
Yeah.
So that's more than 5 minutes. Is it okay if we can go to
Yeah,
Harry
absolutely.
now?
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Thanks for that, Caleb. That's very powerful, actually. And thanks, Ryan. So Harry, Dijkstra, do you want to tell us a little bit more, introduce yourself, and if you've got a question for Ryan about leadership or lean leadership?
No, so again, thanks again, Edwin and Ryan. I really appreciate the chance to be a part of this. It's my dad and my brother own the company that I work for, and dad's had the business for about 38 odd years, so it's been quite a while, and the business has always been, we've always kept everything nice and clean and all that sort of sense, and generally been quite focused on how our business flows, and when I started working there, I always enjoyed trying to find ways to make things a bit better, make things a bit easier, and sort of in the process of doing all that research, I stumbled across lean at some point. I can't quite remember when, but just sort of came across Paul and yeah, and he started giving me a lot more ideas as well. So, and yeah, so I think it's been about a year and a half roughly that I've been looking at lean. Not in a place where I can start morning meetings and all that yet, because yeah, my dad and my company, my dad and my brothers are the other ones who run it, but my dad's retiring next year, so I can take over a bit of his stuff, and then hopefully I can get some more involvement from the rest of the team, which I'm looking forward to, because I've really found that making a few improvements around the place, and it just really adds an extra element of enjoyment to your job, and you just really you just enjoy everything so much more, even the basic stuff. It's just yeah, been really great, and yeah, I've been loving the or Ryan, all your podcasts and that. I've been listening to them over and over again, like a lot of times, and yeah, been really enjoying it, and yeah, no, just really appreciate it. The community as well, especially this Australia New Zealand group. It's just been great to have everyone supporting and sharing videos and sharing ideas, and yeah, it's been quite a journey. I'm looking forward to be able to include the guys a bit more. I try to include them where I can, but yeah, like getting everyone involved in making improvements. Definitely looking forward to all that, and yeah, just trying to get geared up so that when the opportunity comes, I can teach the guys, and yeah, looking forward to that.
Is there, Harry? Is there anything that you're struggling with as a leader that you want to ask Ryan?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head right now, but yeah, just looking.
Can I challenge you then? Is it okay if I challenge you? Yeah.
Yep.
So as Edwin knows, I'm very direct, and Phil kind of knows that as well. I'm very direct, and when I think of something that I think can help, I say it. So if you're not struggling and you haven't got a question, I don't think you're doing it enough. You're not trying hard enough. Because I have 100 questions that I don't know what I'm going to do, because I'm so deep into this that I'm on the phone to Paul Akers, I'm talking to Alex Ramirez, I'm talking to another mentor I have, Brendan McGurgan. I'm like, well, what do I do in this case? So if you don't have really hard hitting questions, I'm kind of finding that you're not doing it intensely enough. And I would just challenge you to absolutely bring your father and your brother in and say, there's this thing called lean. It's going to transform our business. We're going to be the best lean example in Australia. Right? You're Australia, yeah?
Yeah.
We're going to be the best example of lean in Australia. Because when we started lean, I set a goal, and I only told 2 people this goal. The first number one was my mother, and the second person was my wife. I told 2 people this goal, and I didn't share it for years. And I said, we're going to do this thing called lean. Everybody's telling me it won't work, but I'm going to do it to the point where the Japanese want to come and see our factory. This was when we were a mess, when we were working on the floor and workbenches, when our factory was dirty, when our factory was dark, when our people weren't engaged, when everybody laughed at lean. Oh, that'll disappear in 3 months. I set a goal that I wanted to be good enough that the Japanese would come and see our factory, and it happened 2 years ago.
And it only took you 8 years, hey?
8 years, but I
know
I would
it's worth it.
For this to work, you have to set a massive goal. Like Toyota call it the Hoshin Cannery. You can call it a vivid vision. You can call it whatever you want, but you need this massive goal that you're driving towards. And if you haven't got that massive goal, you're kind of just doing lean and doing it when you get time, or it's good for organizing the place. I would set a massive goal. Somebody in this call should step up and say, I'm going to be the example for Australia. I'm going to be the ASCAP of Australia. I'm going to be the Sigmatters of Australia.
I'm going to say, I start our morning meetings, and my morning meeting says 2-second lean masters. I said, it's
beautiful.
not where we're at right now, but that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Always got to push yourself. That's really powerful, Ryan. Hopefully somebody here hears that and takes action, because that's exactly what the purpose of this meeting is. So, James, do you want to speak a little bit about your, just introduce yourself?
Absolutely.
And you got something for Ryan?
Yep. So, hi, everyone. James Hill. I'm a bit of a different situation than most people. So I work for BHP, or BMA, so BHP Mitsubishi Alliance. Work at Peak Downs Coal Mine, which is a steel-making coal mine here in Queensland, Australia, and we produce the best steel-making coal in the world, believe it or not. All the coal on the index in the world is benchmarked off Peak Downs. So coal is used to make the steel that makes all the medical instruments and even high-quality cars like BMWs and Volvos. So I've been at Peak Downs now I've been in and out of Peak Downs over the last while. I started off at Peak Downs as an operator of heavy equipment, and then I've been brought into the lean team. So BHP, so they understand that lean can work some magic, and they've brought in these lean teams, and I'm lucky enough to report to the general manager at Peak Downs Mine and help building lean. The issue I have, though, is, as I saw when I was an operator, I've seen lean come and go. Peak Downs has been around for over 50 years, and seen lean come and go multiple times. And this is the first time that BHP's really tried to make a commitment at it. We've been going at it for 6 years straight at Peak Downs. I've left Peak Downs, went to another mine, and I've come back. And to be honest with you, the culture is getting worse. The struggle that I have is because the leaders have all seen lean come and go. They're all drinking through the fire hose every single day. They've had all the extrinsic motivation used on them. They've had the carrots, they've had the sticks used on them. You will do lean. Come on, do lean. Here's its reward for you. But it's never been intrinsically motivated. If I walk up to them and say, you need to read this book, or 2-second lean, they'll roll their eyes and say, I've got so much work to do. I haven't got time to do that. So my question is how would you facilitate that conversation with them? I've mentioned to them many times in other conversations, is this is not going to work unless you believe in it, and your people can pick up on that you don't believe in it, and they see that you don't believe in it, so they're not going to follow you. Obviously, I just wanted to how would Ryan, direct Ryan approach that conversation with a leader that's not getting it and is not willing to pick up a book and be open to it.
Yep, Good question. It reminds me of somebody that was here on a tour about 3 months ago, and they had the exact same thing. They work in this huge organization, and the senior management don't get it. So I sat down with him for an hour, and we made it kind of a plan, and we decided, or for him to go back to his management and not even say the word lean. You don't have to say lean, because sometimes the word lean comes with this stigmatism. It comes with this negative connotation of increasing productivity and doing more with less people and all this type of thing. So he went back to his management, and he had a meeting and said, what's the goals of the company? What do we want to do as a company? Well, we want to increase productivity. We want better engagement. We want to increase our output. We want a better return on investment for our shareholders. We want all these things. Okay, good. What else do we want? And he started talking about all the things. What's the goals of the company? What's the purpose? What's the mission? What do we want to do here? And then you come in and say, if I could support in some of these things, is it something we're willing to look at? So people just hear the word lean and they think, oh, no, we tried that. We done that before. That didn't work. That's all Japanese, and that's all. No, we don't do that here. We tried that. So in loads of cases, I don't even say the word lean. I put it on the book because a lot of people do know what it means, but we have had companies come here and they go back and call it getting better every day. They call it the Cocoon Way. That's the name of a company. They call it the Let's Make Things Better program. They call it you can call it whatever you want, but sometimes not calling it lean is actually a good thing, because when people hear that word lean, it just, all this stuff comes up. So if you can ask, because everybody wants lean, everybody wants the results of lean, they just don't know. Lean improves productivity. What business owner or senior management doesn't want that? Lean improves health and safety. What company owner, what senior manager doesn't want that? Lean improves morale. Lean reduces staff turnover. Lean, like, we could keep talking, and we don't need to sell the people on this call of the benefits, but all the benefits that lean gives are the things that your managers and leaders want. They just don't like that it's lean to take them there. They don't want to call the train lean, but if you call it something else, package it in a different way. That's why, like Caterpillar, for example, they don't call it lean. They call it if you go back to Japan, it's not even called lean. It's called the Toyota Way, or it's called Kaizen, or put whatever framework, whatever terminology you need to put on it to package it in a way that they get it. And if that means taking the word lean out of everything, then go and do it. That's what I would say. But lean, everybody wants lean. Everybody wants the results of lean. They just don't know that lean is the vehicle to take them there.
Thank you, Ryan. I really appreciate that.
So, Retief, do you want to say a little bit, introduce yourself and just say where you're at and with the leadership of Chapter 1?
Yes. G'day, guys. It's Retief and my brother Peter.
Yeah.
So we very grateful to be part of this group. It's been a very lonely journey until we met Harry Dykstra. We saw him on YouTube and we said, this guy's in WA, we're just not sure where. So he introduced us here, and just to have some like-minded people is just like so refreshing. So we used to be cabinet makers that did the whole measure, quote, design, install, the works. And then we started doing supply for other cabinet makers. And then we turned completely to supply only. So no design, no measure, no install. And since we went down that path, we were like, okay, we were looking at other factories. So we went into a few factories early last year, and then similar time we were watching a lot of like automation videos and what do we do, and then we came across lean, and I think Peter shared with me Paul Akers, and then we watched Ryan, your factory tour, and Yellow Tools, and what was at the time Brian Cairns, Best Stamp Doors. Yes, and we're like, this is cool. Then our Western Australia Cabinet Makers Association put up a lean seminar thing. They spread it over months for Friday. So we went to that. But after the first day, we were like, we're bringing this to our company. But we heard there, they say 80% culture and 20% tools. And we're like, yeah, we hear it. But our business is not very profitable at the moment. And Peter is just one to come in full time still at that time. So we like the idea of more production, more efficiency, etc. And we actually struggled with buy-in with our staff for a long time. We're about 18 months in now. And a few months back, we actually went to the staff and said, sorry, if we could go back, we would start our lean journey different. But as one of the guys said, hey, no need to be sorry. You did the best you did at the time with the knowledge you had. So, yeah, so that's our journey. We had a few hard conversations with a few staff members. We actually got them in and said, listen, are you on board or not? Because this bus is going in a direction and we need people that's willing to go. So I would say now I've just noticed our morning meetings are too long, but we've just kept at it and kept at it and kept at it. And we can see over the last few months, the snowball is gaining momentum. And we're hearing staff members saying stuff like, look so much we did today and we didn't work hard. So, yeah, that's the exciting bit is coming through now. And yeah, so the guys are all getting to know like you, Ryan, and Brad Cairns from the videos and things there. So I would say everyone asked us to share about struggles and things. So I would say the hardest is still to get the guys to get the buying and the learning and understanding and those kind of thing and what is involved, with those kind of things. Yes. So Peter, I don't know if you want to add something.
Yeah. Hello everyone. So just reflecting, like when we went on this becoming more manufacturing based, we always knew like how we need to set up the factory to be more productive, but we never had the language for it. Like we could never formalize it for the guys. And then we came across lean, and it actually gives us the tools, the 3S or the 5S and continuous improvement and all of that. And it actually helped us and now like the book, your book, Ryan, like it just gives us those tools, like the language, how to frame it for the guys on the floor. We can actually articulate better of what we want to say and how to build that culture and stuff like that. So, and we actually went back and like looked at the principles of lean, and it's like, hey, that actually ties in with our values and stuff, because one of our values is continuous improvement. So that was just that was very helpful. So thank you.
Amazing.
So we do have a few. You might have some advice on those kind of things, or if anyone has questions. Peter's got one question: why 3S and not 5S? And I've got a question probably for the whole group is, what's the benefit of making the videos and why should we make the videos? But more important, why should we post it on YouTube for the world to see? Because we've got a big goal with our company and we want to improve the cabinet industry in WA. But we don't want to be a YouTube influencer.
Okay, so first one, why 3S, not 5S? For us, we went with the Paul Akers model. Paul simplified it to 3S, and he simplified it because of Hawks. in Japan. They called it 3S. So went from Hawks to Paul, from Paul to us. We just kept with the 3 because I think very simple. That's on the title of the book. I can't remember 5 things. I can remember 3 easily. And if I can't remember 5 things, if I go and ask one of our welding guys, what's the 5S? Safety, sustain, but 3S, sort sweep, standardize. So people have to be able to say it off the top of their head, because if they can't just rhyme it off, what's the chances of them actually going and doing it? So the simpler, the better. It's the best thing in the world is simplifying, and I just love simplifying concepts and simplifying everything because it makes it stick. So every single person, if you came here on a tour and you asked anybody in our building, all 53 people, what does 3S mean? Sort sweep, standardize. It's so easy. It's just off because it's 3 things. Once something goes above 3, it's really hard to remember. So that's why we do it. It's just simple. Second question, why bother sharing videos on YouTube? You don't have to. That's the first thing. It depends what your goal is. If your goal is to improve your company internally, then just keep have an internal WhatsApp group, share all your improvements within your own team, and that's fine. But if you say your goal is to, what was it, to influence?
We want to improve we be part of improving the cabinet industry in WA and Australia for the better.
Yep.
To be able to,
yeah. So if that's the goal, what's going to help you to get there? Is sharing videos going to help? It may help. It may help you.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something where you almost have to get over yourself and your own limitations, and it's not about you. It's about helping the people of Australia to make cabinets better. You probably have to get over yourself.
Yeah.
And if I'm being really honest, I was there before. When I found out about Lean, we didn't have morning meetings for the first 3 or 4 months because I didn't feel confident enough to stand up in front of everybody and have a meeting. That's being really honest.
Yeah.
So if somebody would have said to me, in 8 years' time, you're going to have a podcast, you're going to have a YouTube channel, you're going to write a book, I would have said, no way, that's not me. I'm quiet, I'm shy, I'm withdrawn. I want to kind of be in the background, but it's not about me, it's about the message.
Yeah.
And I'm not shining a spotlight on me. I'm shining a spotlight on Lean. So you're not shining a spotlight on you by doing YouTube videos. You're shining a spotlight on better ways to build cabinets.
Yeah.
So take yourself out of it. It's not about you. It's not about, I'm not doing Lean Made Simple to look famous. I'm doing it to shine a spotlight on Lean. So
yeah,
that's what I would say.
I think fair comments, and it comes back to humility, a bit of being humble. Interesting. Yes,
I think there's also some people that worry, people are going to steal my ideas, and I'm going to fall behind. You know what? If you guys are at a different level, if you're doing the daily 3S, the morning meetings, and all that, and putting the improvement videos, they're not going to catch up to you.
They're not going to catch up to you.
Try and catch up now to Ryan. You know what I mean? And it's not, they're not worried about them. It's like Ryan says, it's about other people. And the point of those videos, because I went over a couple of weeks ago to UK to JJB, and Ryan was there as well. Many of its guys are there. Jack says the one thing that changed everything was putting up those morning videos and actually changing the culture, because everybody got excited about what the improvements are. Because on a WhatsApp, you'll like skip and you won't really see it. People don't watch all the videos. But if you bring it, make it important and make it part of your morning meeting, it creates excitement and it creates celebration. It creates team. I don't know if you would agree on that, Ryan.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Edwin, if I can just jump in here, guys, I've got a distribution business based in Sydney, and I've been doing Lean for a massive 6 weeks now. So, Retief, just based on what you were saying, I'm very shy and I hate the spotlight. I cannot do it. And there's no ways I could do lean now without Edwin's help. So I've got Edwin, who started off our morning meetings, got the guys doing videos, which personally, I can't stand the videos. But watching the videos and seeing the excitement in the staff, I just think it's fantastic. And if it wasn't for the videos or everyone else in the organization seeing the other employees' videos, I don't think they'd be on board. And I think everyone watching everyone else's improvement videos just makes that difference.
Yeah. Yes. No, thanks, guys. Yes. And I'll share something Peter shared in our video meeting this morning. Is about Edwin touched on lean and catching up and stuff, but our view is not that like Harry is a cabinet maker, also in WA, but our view is that we're not competition. Our competition is imports from example China, and we in Australia, New Zealand, where we need to share our knowledge to all become stronger. Yeah.
Very good. All right. So we're a bit longer there.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the contribution. Ryan Power, do you want to just introduce yourself a little bit? So you're the last one, and then just if you have any questions for Ryan Tierney.
Sure, thanks. Firstly, I'd just like to say,
Ryan,
thanks for organising this, Edwin. It's great. And thanks to Ryan for putting the effort in with the book. It's absolutely incredible. We had a board meeting today, some of our external board, and I had the book on my desk. Well, I think I lost it about 5 times during the day. It got stolen. So well done on that. It's awesome. It's well needed. So I'll be buying a few more copies, I think. So we've just got a small importing and wholesaling business here in Wellington, New Zealand. We sell everything to do with footwear and feet. And when I met Ryan at Seating Matters back in April this year, we had a bit of an interesting one. Ryan likes to keep people sitting down. We like to keep people standing up on their feet. So really good to have that. Yeah. So we've been doing lean solidly for about 4 years. During COVID, was in one of those moments where it was very frustrating. We were selling lots of low dollar value items, and it was just taking forever to get them out the door. Cost of goods was massively high. So stumbled across Paul Akers' book and watched thousands and thousands of YouTube videos in those months when we were stuck at home. And we actually started our morning meeting during COVID just on Teams. It was very simple, but it evaluated from there. And then after that, we got a small leadership team together. There was 3 of us, and we all were on the same page and pushed out lean. And it was quite challenging because lean was very much in the manufacturing space, and we were totally not doing any manufacturing. So we were just bringing widgets into the building and pushing the widgets out the door, basically. So that was quite a challenge to sort of see from a leader's point of view how to actually make that work when you weren't literally changing something. Something I still struggle with is the value added. How do we see a shoelace changing from the time it sits on the shelf to the time it goes out the door? As a leader, I've spent the last 2 or 3 years really pushing the team, and it's been an absolute challenge, but it has been very rewarding. And I don't think we would be where we are today without lean. We've brought out 2 oppositions since that have both basically said to us, we can't compete with you. We don't know how you do it. And that is in result of lean. And having standards in place, 3 seeing just that morning meeting, the communication across the team's been the biggest thing we've learned. So I've probably got 1,000 questions or 1,000 more questions for you, Ryan. But I suppose one of the questions is, as a leader and as our leadership team, how do we get
more leaders in a company? How do we get the guys on the warehouse floor to become leaders and great leaders, and empower themselves? They're obviously, as you said, you've got the guys with their hoodies on and they get the hoodie off and actually really get themselves outside their comfort zone by communicating and running a morning meeting. But how do they become a leader and really get themselves the next level?
Yep, good question. I think the first thing is that not everybody is going to be a leader. And the sooner people realize that, the better. Everybody's at different levels, and they have the potential to, they maybe just don't realize it. But and I learned this from Chuck at In the Ditch Towing Products. I went to see his factory about 6 years ago. And back then I was trying to get everybody to the one level, get everybody excited about lean, get everybody doing improvements every day. And I was driving my head crazy. And Chuck explained it to me. He kind of pulled me to the side and he said, imagine all your people swimming in a big swimming pool, 50 people all swimming, and all you're doing is walking up and down. You're just walking up and down the side of the pool. And every so often somebody will look up and they'll reach their hand up and they'll look for help. And that's the person that you help. For us to try and help everybody that's swimming in the swimming pool, it's not feasible. It's not possible. We're going to drive ourselves crazy. So what I do, and I think we talked about this a bit at the summit, Edwin, I focus on 5 people. I have 4 or 5 people that I spend all my time with. Because I was spending my time with 40, 50 people, and I was going from him to her to him to send him a video and here, have a look at this podcast and you should think about this improvement. In my head, I just, it wasn't feasible, it wasn't possible. So I spent my time with 5 people. So in your company, you might say you're going to spend your time with 1 person or 2 people or 3 people and get them so excited, create like an inner circle, create like a lean leaders group and make them so passionate about lean that it then filters to everybody else. So for you to try and get everybody to the same level, you will just drive yourself crazy. The relief that I got once I found that out, once I realized, okay, not everybody's gonna be as excited about this as me. That's okay. Chuck really made me think about that, and I came back home from that trip from Idaho and changed my whole way of thinking. And it was just like this weight lifted off my shoulders because I felt this big burden that I had to get everybody to the one level and get them all excited about lean. And I realized I didn't have to do that. And once I done that, I focused on 5 people and they fed it down to the next level. And that's how it works.
That's amazing. Thank you for that. That's where I'm at right now, probably because I'm so excited about it. I expect everyone else to be on the same page, but they're not.
They're never going to be. And if you come to our factory, right, like you've been here, you can see as you walk around, not everybody, they're at a good level, but not everybody is like, can't wait to watch the next Lean Made Simple podcast. That's not the way they are.
Yeah.
Some people don't watch any of them. Some people don't watch our videos. Some people may not even know I've got a YouTube channel. But there's other people that watch every single one and they pause and they take notes and they send me messages at night and they say, you see, when you said this, what did you mean? Can you explain that better? And that's the people that I spend my time with.
That's amazing. Thanks. That's incredible.
That's really powerful. I remember at the summit where Hugh Carnahan was talking about training the trainer who trains the trainer. So as Ryan's job is to work with those 5 people, his job is also to help those 5 people work with their 5 people or their 3 people, and then to coach them. That's something they do. I know they do that in Toyota a lot, is they have 3 or 4 deep. So it's all about training and teaching your people, right? But just talking with them is, not all the information comes in. Being with them, showing them, and then them teaching the next person down is when they really do the learning. And I think that's a big thing a lot of leaders miss, is like, I'll do it with you. I'm going to do it and do it. But actually let the that person now teach the next person and stand with them while they're teaching so you can coach them. I think you spend a lot of time doing that, Ryan, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Not as much now, to be honest, because I don't have to do it as much. But yeah, for the last 10 years, I've really, really intensely spending time with those 5 people. Yeah.
It's a skill that you have to develop over time. So, yeah. Okay. I
And
think,
Ryan, is it the same 5 people all the time, or does that ever change?
It changes a lot, yeah. So when we started Lean, there was a guy JB and another guy Decky, and JB has left to start his own business. Decky left to manage Lean in a huge company that was closer to where it. And so the core group that I had changed, but I'm always thinking, right, there, who's my next person that I want to bring into the inner circle? Yeah.
Awesome. And just to note that Declan and JB will be on this lean learning group in the coming episodes. So it's good.
That'll be exciting having JB and Decky, because they're the first 2 people I went to when I came across Lean. I then the next day went straight to them. So they eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff.
Yeah. And you can see it when I talk to them, they get it. So we'll pepper them with questions as well. Yeah. Any last words, Ryan?
Yeah, there is one last thing. You see at the back of the book, if you go to page 131, there's a QR code that you can scan, and it takes you to, we're building up a database of Lean companies from all over the world. And I would encourage everybody just to, if you want to be part of that webpage, I can send you the link, Edwin, and you can share it with everybody. But you just fill in the form and just company name, your address, your contact details, if you would like to be on that, in that network, because it's a great way for people to find out what other Lean companies are in Australia. You can go on there and see. So
yeah,
only if you want to.
that's very...
Yeah.
Only if you want to. Well, that's one of the things that I struggled with, because I was doing Lean for 3 years on my own, and like Retief, that you're on your own. It takes so much longer. You really have to, reinvent the wheel. So it's really important. Eventually found Phil in New Zealand, through Tom Hughes, and then connected me to this whole world that I've, all been open to. So it's really powerful. Okay, great. Well, thanks again. And in 2 weeks' time, we'll be with Hugh Carnahan. So we'll talk about morning meetings.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for your time.
Cheers.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Really
Cheers, Ryan.
appreciate it. Thanks,
Bye.
Edwin.